Hey guys, this is Eve with Scrapbooking with me, and since we could never get our live working yesterday, and to update you on that, I have the internet people, just in case it's my internet, I have them coming out here next week to look at my internet, make sure my streaming, all that, it looks good, and if that looks good, then we know it's YouTube. But if that does not look good, then they're going to fix all of that and fix it up to where I can stream live. So just keep in mind that I am working on that. I love doing lives with you guys. I like talking to you and not doing them like this, but we want to get it worked out to where it's nice and not buffering, that kind of thing with everybody. But we're going to go ahead and make this ornament today on the video. Now, don't worry, I have plenty of other ornaments in my head that we can make on a live stream, so just bear with me and we will get those done. You're going to start out with chipboard. Now, you can use, I'm just using some regular chipboard scrap that I have. You can use cereal boxes, the insides of cereal boxes, just glue a couple of pieces together so it'll make it a little bit thicker. Anything like that, a box that you get through the mail, use something like that. I'm also going to use the stamp set that I got from Maymay. Now I didn't on this one. This one I made plain. I didn't stamp it or anything. But the one I'm going to make now, I'm going to stamp it to make it look a little bit more like real wood. So this is the Essentials, no, this is the Do Craft Creative Stamp Set, and it is called Wooden Board Background, and I will link that below. Let's see what we're going to start with. All right, we're going to ink the stamp up, and I'm going to ink it first in some ground espresso. Just ink that up with that. Woo, and stick your fingers in it like I do. And then just lay it down on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is wood, you know. Look at that. See my fingers? I cannot use ink without getting it all over me. So see, that gives us a nice wood look there. And it's probably better to bring your cardstock or paper to this big stamp, but I wanted to be able to position it where I wanted it. So we're going to go right there at the end of that, stamp it again, and there we go. We've got some wood look on there. So I'm going to lay that aside. Now, once you get that inked up and looking like you want it, what you're going to do is take it and cut it into 1/2 inch strips. Now, I've already cut quite a few of these just because I'm making quite a few of those ornaments, but I wanted to show you how I stamped it first. Stamp it and then cut it up. It makes it a lot easier, believe me. The first ones, I didn't do that. But then you can also add more ink on this if it's not quite as dark as you want. You can go in with more ink, and I just use my little finger dauber. You just go in with more ink and ink it a little bit more to make it look a little bit darker and a little more like the wood that you want it to be. So you can add as dark or as light as you want. So I'm going to start with these pieces that I've already got cut, and I am going to make them a little bit darker just by using, this is Vintage Photo that I'm using now. Just want them to be a little bit darker. So just go in with your, you can do this with any type of sponge dauber or whatever that you have. Just go in and ink them up. Now I want the edges of mine where I cut that, I want those to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to go back in with my ground espresso and I'm just going to darken those up. Now on this, you can make these as large or as small as you want. This one is, find a ruler. The largest across the center, it's 3.5, and then it is about 4.5 tall from the point up here. So you can make these as large or small as you want. If you want to make a really big one, like to put on your wall, you could use the full length of your strips. But we're not going to do that for this one. I may do one of those later on just to have decoration for my wall. But you've seen those pallets that everybody is into right now. Everybody everywhere is into pallets and making the pallet wood signs and that kind of thing. So we're going to make this to look a little bit like a pallet. So we're going to take these strips and we're going to cut them down at about, let me see what that is right there. This is 4 inches. So we're going to cut it down to 4 inches. I'm just going to use my big shears to cut these down. You don't have to worry about the edges being perfectly straight because we're going to actually trim most of them off anyway. And don't worry if you get one a little bit shorter like that. Just use that shorter one close to the top. Just need to make sure that middle one, the very center, is at least 4. After that, doesn't really matter if they're a little bit shorter. So I just lay them on top of each other and whack them off. There's science to this. Just whack them off. And looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 is what we're going to need. So we need one more. Right there. And then you need 2 for the back side. And this chipboard just happened to be white on the back side. You don't have to have that, but it was just that way, and I had a scrap piece. So these 2 pieces on the back side, cut them a little bit longer. So we're going to cut those, let's see, yeah. Let's see what that is right there. They're going to be about 4 inches too, so that should work fine. And I will put all of these measurements over on my blog. I know, so we got 4 and 4 right there. I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to keep up, but we're going to put I'll put all the measurements over on my blog with pictures and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to take the 2 longest ones that you put for the back of it, and you're going to place them about 1 1/4 inch apart, just somewhere in that neighborhood. Doesn't have to be perfect, as I said. This is just going to serve to hold all of these together. And then just start with your longest one, lay it in the center, and then the next one. I just kind of lay them out first before I start gluing, and that way I can kind of tell what I want, where I want it. So there's a little short one. We'll put him at the top, and we'll put that little short one at the bottom. Now on this, I use my hot glue because you're going to need something that holds really, really well. So, and I mean, you could use your other glue. You just need to clamp it or something until it took hold. I'm sure the art glitter glue would hold it, but I would just clamp them until it set. You put a little dab of glue on each one, and you're going to start on that top one and just press it down somewhere. Just kind of center it up the best you can, like that. And then I take my next one. Let's see, I'll make sure I keep the shorter ones on the end. And just put another little dab of hot glue, skip a little bit of space, put a little dab on each one. And then I leave just a tiny bit of space between the 2. Let me see if I can, see how nasty my fingers are already? This is terrible. Alright, so see, that's about what space I'm leaving between them right there. And that's probably about 1/8 of an inch. So just leave a little space between them. And then you go to your next one. And just keep going all the way down. Let's see, I'm gonna put that on the bottom. Oh, I got that one a little short. Put it on the bottom. There you go. And just try to keep these kind of even. I mean, all of mine are cut all different sizes, so they're not going to be perfectly even. But just keep them as close to even as you can, because when you start trimming them off for that circle, then they're going to need to be a little bit straight. So that's all we're doing right there. And like I said, most of this stuff you have around home. You know, you have cereal boxes, you have other type boxes around your house. So just cut them up and make ornaments out of them. Ink them up a little bit, and you can make some beautiful ornaments. And I have no idea where I saw this, but I saw one a long time ago on, I don't know if it was a website or in a book, and it just stuck in my mind. And when somebody had suggested last week on our live that we do Christmas ornaments, I just happened to think about that, because I love to do different things. I don't like to do the same thing. I like to do different things. So you see, there is a little pallet. You've got a pallet made out of chipboard, and it looks like it's made out of wood. I think that's super cute. So you can make big ones of these and put them on your wall. You wouldn't even have to have pallets. A lot of people can't get a hold of pallets, and they want to make the wood signs. You could just do it this way. Get chipboard, cut it the width that you want, make big pallets out of chipboard. Nobody will know the difference unless you tell them that this is chipboard and not wood. After all, what is wood? What is chipboard? It is just wood. All right, now you're going to need, and you can use a piece of aluminum foil if you don't have this tape. I got this tape many, many years ago when we were putting in a new air conditioner unit here. This is what the people used to put in air conditioned ductwork. This is just that tape that they use. And I've had that roll forever and a day, so it'll last a long, long time. You can get it at Walmart, somewhere like that. But if you don't have this, just use aluminum foil. And I just cut off a little strip of it. You don't even need this much, but I cut that much off because I go ahead and do 2 or 3 pieces at once. I'm going to cut this a little bit straighter there, I think. Maybe I cut it even more crooked. And then you're just going to score just as close as you can, which will be every 1/8 inch on this. And just score down through it. And you don't have to press hard, just press easy. All you're doing is making that indentation. Now, if you have one of those crimping tools, you could use this and that crimping tool too. I don't have one of those, so I just do it this way. But you'll see in a moment when we get this out, this is gonna look just like the top of those little ornaments that are all crimped up there. See there? It's all crimped up. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this in the center. And I'm not going to use my bone folder or anything because I want those ridges to stay in there. And then I'm just going to trim off a little bit to just give me about the width that I want. Oops. So there is your little top part for the ornament. I'm going to use my hot glue, glue that together. So there's your little top part for your ornament. Isn't that cute? So we will lay him aside for a moment. Let's see, I need to put a little bit of glue in there. Lay him aside. And now you're going to need something to put on here to trim your circle out. Now what I used was this old cutting thingamajig that I got from Creative Memories many years ago. But if you don't have this, you can use a bottle, you can use the inside of a tape roll like that, a glass, a cup, just whatever to make a circle on here. And just kind of center it up somewhere around the center, and then draw off that line. See if I can see that line. Oh yeah. And then I use my Tim Holtz shears. These cut through this chipboard very well. I don't have a problem with it. But if you don't have these, then you know, you could use an X-Acto knife. You could use another pair of scissors. It's not very hard to cut through these little pieces. They just go flying everywhere. And I'm going to leave the ends alone right now. I'm just going to cut the sides, and I'll show you why in a moment. Okay, now I'm going to go back and cut the ends, but I want to make sure that I don't cut it to the point to where they pop off. If they do, I'll glue them back on. And they're a little bit tougher to cut too. See, that one needs a little bit more glue under there, so I'll do that. Because you're cutting through two thicknesses on the side. Oh, that's a little bit harder. See, it pops up, but all you need to do, that's why you make that back piece a little bit longer. All you need to do is just go back, glue that back down, and you've got it. There we go. So on those bottom pieces, just make sure that you put your glue really heavy on the bottom pieces so they'll hold well when you're cutting them off. And you want it to look a little rugged. You don't want it to look so perfect, because this is, remember, this is a pallet, so you want it to look a little rugged. Let's make sure that this top's glued on well. Nope, right there. A little bit on that side. And yes, I have asbestos fingers. I'd be fooled with hot glue so many years, so. And then I just use my little pokey tool, and any glue that's in between there, I just pull it out. Do that. Clean it up a little bit. But see, there is the makings already of our little ornament. And now we're going to need to put a hanger on the top. So I'm going to use some twine. I'm going to use a little loop here. You could use 2 loops if you wanted. You could use a double loop. I think 1 loop will be fine. And I'm just going to flip it over. Trim it off a little bit more. And then I'm just going to put my hot glue right there and press this down into it. And I have my little helper tool here, so I'm just going to hold that down with that. The reason my fingers are asbestos is most of the time I forget to use my little helper tool. I just stick my finger down on that. So let's make sure, I'm going to put a little bit more glue right here. Make sure that holds well. So there's our little loop. Then we want to put this little piece on there. And so see, if we put it like that, it's going to be a little bit too big. So I'm going to trim it off a little bit more am going to slide it down on that loop, just like that. So there we have it like that. And then all I'm going to do is on the inside of this, I'm just going to squirt a little hot glue down in there to hold this guy on there. I'm going to press it down just as far as it'll go on my ornament, and then just kind of press it together. And that should hold very, very well. There we go, we've got him in there. And then I always do just another little loop, because that one usually is not big enough to hang on the tree. So I do another loop, and I just stick this through there with my twine. Tie the end. Make you a little knot on there. And then there is our little knot to hang it by. Now we want to decorate like we did this one. So what I have done is I've punched out a ton of these little pieces that out of our punch that we had, wherever it is. I think I've already put it up. You know, our little punch that we made the Christmas tree and all of that out of. I have punched some of those out, and we're just going to make a little swirl that comes down through here with this. So we're going to glue these down just in to make it look like a little branch that comes down through there. Now don't worry about your hot glue strings. You can either hit this with a heat tool and melt those strings, or as I do, I just take my little tool and I find one and I start twisting, and I just twist until all of them come off on my tool. So there you go. Then we want to put a few of little berries on there. So we're going to use these little pieces of bling. Just some tiny little bling that I've had left over here and there. And it makes really good berries. And you could hot glue these on there too if you wanted to, if you're afraid they're going to fall off. They stick pretty well, so I'm just going to leave them like they are. And I think that is enough. Then I have just took some seam binding, red seam binding, and I've cut a piece and then just tied a little bow. And I know you guys know how to do that, so I'm not even going to show that on here. Save you the frustration of watching me tie a bow. Just put that at the top. Then I have just some little pearls here, just a little strand that I've had left over, and I just clip a little piece of that and then glue that right at the top. So there you are, and there is your ornament completed. And it's, like I said, it's just things that we normally have around home anyway. Use chipboard, out of whatever kind of box, aluminum foil if you don't have any of this tape, and then just some twine, a piece of ribbon, a little bit of embellishments on there, and you've got some beautiful ornaments. That is it, quick and easy. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and when that little bell pops up, click that bell so that you'll be notified every time that we put up a new video. I've had people say that they're not getting notifications when we go live or when we put up a video. If you look and that little bell doesn't have the little parentheses around it, then you're not going to be notified. So click that bell until you see those little parentheses, and then you will be notified every time that we put up a new video or we go live. Alright, I will try a live later on today and just see if it's going to work, but I have no idea. With today being such a busy day in the United States, with all the ball games starting up, I don't know, it probably would be really sketchy today too. So we may just wait until next week until our internet provider comes out and gets everything checked out before we try another live, because I hate getting everybody frustrated wanting to see a live and then they get on there and they can't watch it. So we will talk to you guys later. Remember, if you're not already signed up for Made It Con, I'll put that link below. Go over and sign up for some of our classes. We've got just a few spots still left open, and we would love to see you there. If you can't come and take a class, then come and meet us. We'd love to meet you. We're having a free meet and greet on Saturday. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.